everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Due to the graphic and disturbing nature of the crimes discussed, listener discretion is advised. Retrostatic Radio presents Killing 15 Minutes.
Hello and welcome to Killing 15 Minutes, where you get your true crime fix in 15 minutes or less, or your podcast is free. I'm your writer, Sam Rossi, and shortly I'll be handing over a rough draft of a script to my brother, AJ, who hasn't read it, who's most likely has no idea what we're talking about. This should be fun. Good luck, bro.
Thanks, Sam. Walter E. Ellis was born in Holmes County, Mississippi on June 24th, 1960. He was one of 6 children. In the mid-1960s, the family moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ellis showed antisocial behaviors during his early childhood. He was a bully and frequently in trouble. He dropped out of school in 1974, turning to a life of crime. At 14, he was arrested for robbery and attempted murder. Because of his age, though, he was only given a heavy fine. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was something a person could do. The next 4 years, he was arrested twice for robbery and only got a fine as punishment also. November 1978 saw him pleading guilty and getting probation. In May 1979, Ellis was charged with drug possession. He was able to prove a pharmacy sold him the drugs without a prescription, so he was only given a fine. In May 1980, Ellis tried his hand as a pimp. He got in a fight with local hustlers and sex workers. He was arrested for extortion. Charges were dropped, though, due to lack of evidence. Over the next 4 years, he would be in and out of custody with either probation or parole. By February 1985, after being released from prison, Ellis tried to make an honest living until September. I don't know why that made me laugh. He tried to make an honest living for the couple months.
Yep.
I know, it was like 6 months. 6 or 8, whatever. Where he was busted for extortion again. Charges were dropped when the victim was found to be a sex worker. Yeah, sadly, that's something that happens. On October 18th, 1986, he was charged with disturbing the police order and attacking an officer. For this, he got 7 months in county jail. Well, it's about time he got busted.
I agree.
In May 1987, he was released, arrested for theft, and sent back to prison for a year. He was paroled 9 months later. Is this going to end with someone's murder and then me being annoyed at the judicial system in the 80s?
Probably.
Okay. In November 1988, he tried carjacking during his arrest. In November of 1988, he tried carjacking, and during his arrest, he attacked the officer. He was on parole and went back to jail. See the reason that the 3-strike system got into place? Because holy shit.
No, not yet.
He was released on January 9th, 1990. Ellis joined a drug trafficking ring, the Brothers of the Struggle, who also was in dispute with other Milwaukee gangs. In June 1990, Ellis was arrested on drug charges. He was convicted in November of 1990. Because of his rap sheet, he was sent to Club Fed in Minnesota. Released May 1992, but by November was back inside the joint for violating his parole. He was ordered for rehabilitation. He lived in a halfway house. He could leave for work or church or to the library, but that was it. However, most gave the officials money to give free rein. Spelled rain wrong.
Yeah.
In December of 1992, Ellis was arrested for leaving the premises without permission. He turned rat and became an informant for several years. Over those years, he got away with lesser crimes, or probation. In 1998, he was excluded from being an informant. Oh, that means he stopped
The cop said he didn't.
He wasn't good enough to be an informant? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was a matter of, he was excluded from a crime for being an informant. Your sentence structure is quite terrible. In August 1998, he was sentenced to 3 years for reckless endangerment, served out in Oshkosh Correctional Institution. Keep forgetting that's a real place.
Oshkosh bagosh.
In July 2001, Ellis was released and moved back to Milwaukee. He stayed below the radar, working as a low-skilled laborer. In 2009, a cold case team in Milwaukee connected 7 murders to him on DNA. The sex workers were between the ages of 19 to 41. A statewide investigation discovered that inmate Walter Ellis did not have a blood and saliva sample on record as per state law. In late August, Ellis was ordered to give his DNA. However, he failed to show up, and an arrest warrant was issued. Wait, when the fuck was he? Last we knew he... Oh, no. It was 2001. He went back to being a low-skilled laborer. Never mind. I apologize. I'm sorry. He's been in and out of prison so much.
I know.
I absolutely forgot he was not on parole. In late August, Ellis was ordered to give his DNA. However, he failed to show up, and an arrest warrant was issued. Police checked his house out and found his toothbrush and took it for the DNA sample. Within days, a match was made to 9 murders in a 3-mile radius of northern Milwaukee, spanning from 1986 to 2007. Jesus Christ. A maroon 1994 Buick Century registered to Ellis was seen in Franklin, Wisconsin. Ah, hey. That's actually, I had a 98 Buick Century.
Yep.
It was silver. Just for anyone who's wondering. On September 7, 2009, he was found out at a motel holding his girlfriend Tressie Johnson, who did not... Holding his girlfriend like they were just cuddling?
No, holding hostage.
Oh, she was a hostage!
Because she didn't know what was going on. I didn't know he was being wanted for murder.
At the time of his arrest, they found crack and a crack pipe. He was charged with the murder of 7 women between 1986 and 2007, with suspicion in 2 other murders. Due to Ellis's arrest, Shant Dean Ott was released. What the fuck does that say? Shant Dean Ott.
Yeah.
Shant Dean Ott was released from jail for one of the murders after 15 years in prison. William Avery was released after 5 years when Ellis's DNA was added to the database. Ellis pled not guilty originally until a plea deal of 7 consecutive life sentences was given to him. Ellis was moved to South Dakota State Penitentiary in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That's a weird fucking place to be. He was diagnosed with diabetes and would die from that on December 2013. We haven't said this a lot.
Not lately.
We really haven't, but... What the fuck? Okay, I've said that a lot. But this is... I'm gonna brush off a chestnut. We've actually gone a good few months without me having to say this. There is times where you can understand. You don't have to agree with, but you can understand where the law is coming from on why a petty criminal gets away with shit. Or, oh man, it was the heat of the moment. He should only get, 3 years in jail, not life sentence. Or, oh man, clearly they couldn't open his trunk legally, and they had no probable cause to, so they wouldn't find the, bloodied, broken hooker in the back seat.
Right.
Sort of thing. There's an understandable thing. However, if you've gotten arrested, convicted, if you have had to be fined 20 times, you've been paroled 14 times, you've been put on probation 12 times, there comes a time where the law just needs to be like, you're done. You're done. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Now, of course, that is to say, they were all lesser crimes, it looked like. Outside of, if your robbery has an attempted murder attached, or it has a armed robbery to it, where there's, to me, armed robbery is one rung down from attempted murder, because it is the threat of attempted murder.
Mm-hmm.
It is, if you do this, I will try to kill you.
Right.
So, to me, armed robbery is equally as bad as attempted murder. Or at least, maybe not as bad, but it's up there.
Right.
It's not the same as... It's sort of like if a 16-year-old kid tries to steal shoes from fucking Foot Locker. Just takes the shoes and run.
Right.
Sure, it's robbery. However, that is a very different crime than if that 16-year-old kid pulls a gun and he and a friend are holding the, shoe clerk hostage, being like, I'm taking these J's, and then running.
Right.
Because one is, you can argue an impulsivity to it.
Right.
Another is a premeditation, especially if you have an accomplice. Sorry, that's a very specific case that pisses me off. But the point is, this dude should not have made it to 1986 as a free man. I don't want to say he should have been killed. I think lesser crimes, But there's also a point where you have to look at a rap sheet and be like, this is your 104th, air quote, lesser crime.
Right.
It should add up.
I get what you're
Now,
saying.
do I agree in the three-strike law? No, or three-strike system? No, but yes.
Okay.
Well, because some things that count as a strike, like it's any 3 strikes.
Yeah, there's that, or you have to have it where it's, California has it where if they fall in within different categories.
Yeah, it's like 3 felonies counts, technically.
Yeah.
Like some is 3 felonies and you're out. Others, it's like 3 violent crimes, which I actually like more categorically. Like, 3 violent crimes out. Understandable.
Right.
Depending on the severity of the violent crime, obviously. But if it's like 3 armed robberies, I don't know if armed robbery is a felony. I would assume so.
I would think so.
Because it's something with a violent weapon. Like,
yeah, menacing with a violent weapon.
yeah. But I'm glad. I'm really hoping the people who got out of jail, which is its own fucking can of worms.
Right.
Because it's like, if they had DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I kind of understand the one, the 15-year, the one that was after 15 years he was released in 20 whatever the hell.
Right.
Or in 2000 whatever the hell. But in that time, the 90s was DNA central.
Yes.
As in, they were at least able to look at, because these crimes had DNA collected.
Right, but I think because there was no, that at the time in the 80s, if he went in for the 80s, they weren't doing DNA yet.
True. And then there was a closed case, so they wouldn't have looked back at it.
No, the only reason they would have anything like that is if there was
is because it was
I bet
the
you
question mark DNA. The question mark DNA was in the system, and that was the only thing. But then you have to turn around and be like, well, how flimsy was their case without the DNA then? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Where if it's all circumstantial, and then we have to look at how trial systems in the U.S. really kind of suck sometimes. Because it's like the Central Park 5 or whatever the fuck.
Right.
The one that was just overturned.
Yes.
By just, I mean like
a few years ago.
A couple years ago, yeah. There's this whole thing where it's like, not saying that they didn't deserve to be in prison for other things, but this thing,
Yeah.
It's sort of like how there's the biggest reason that drug possession and drug laws in the U.S. have always been so bad is because, well, one, you could argue the racial features of it, but the other one is sometimes that's all you can get. The gangbanger who's popped, 20 people, he's good at not leaving evidence. He's good, he's able to be linked with these several murders. But he also has an ounce of weed in his pocket, so that's all we can get him into jail on. Sort of a thing.
Right.
That being said, all of that has nothing to do with the dude shouldn't have been paroled 14 fucking times. I know it was only like 4 or 5.
But still.
But still, there comes a point where parole should not be granted. After the third time, it should be maybe, okay, you're serving it. The end.
I agree.
I believe in a 3-strike parole system. I think some people should be given parole. I think other people really shouldn't. And I hate bonds. And I hate the bail system we have right now.
This is true.
No one should be able to, we're setting the bail at $3 million. It's like, okay, all I gotta do is, go to a bail bondsman, see.
Put something up.
And put collateral up. And it's like, okay, so what you're saying is that it is strictly a money-making system. It's sort of the whole idea that fines are just how rich people can break the law.
I agree.
Because a $200 fine to me or you is substantial. But I just killed a hooker in a bathtub and the only thing I'm being charged with is a fine.
Yep.
Although I do find it interesting that underage, like being air quote tried as a kid when he was.
Yeah.
It was, you're only 14, so you're only getting a fine. I think that's actually quite interesting.
Okay.
Well, because there's no way for him to, even in the 80s, to legally obtain the funds to pay a fine.
Okay.
So, fining someone at the age where he's probably able to get some sort of work. He's 14. It's the 80s.
Yeah.
But you're almost telling the criminal, the one who you're fining him for trying to rob a place and attempted murder. Okay, now you need to come up with $500 to pay for that. How are you going to do that if you already feel that robbery is on the table? You're not going to go become a fucking clerk. You're going to go and rob some more people. Mm-hmm. Maybe try your hand at pimping. Failing at that, but trying.
Yep.
I wonder if that's actually what set him off. Because wasn't in the 80s he tried pimping?
Yeah.
And that failed, so...
I could easily see what you're following.
And it wasn't, no offense to them, it probably wasn't even about them. It was about their fucking pimps.
Yep.
Sorry, this one got away from me, despite the fact that the case itself is kind of dull.
I agree.
Holy shit. We turned this into 18 minutes. I know it'll probably be like 14 when we're all edited.
When we're all edited, I'll probably get us down to 15.
Well,
we gotta work that batting average back.
I know we gotta undercut. I thought this was gonna be an undercut. I apologize.
It's okay.
Well, with all that said, I'm AJ Carey.
I'm Sam Rossi.
Later, y'all!
Killing 15 Minutes is hosted by Arthur Carey, with scripts written and researched by Sam Rossi. If you like this episode or want to stay updated on this series, consider following Killing 15 Minutes on Patreon or Retrostatic Radio on all major social media platforms. Good night and God bless.
You're watching Retrostatic Radio.
Wheel of Random is turn, turn, turn. Tell us the 15 minutes we shall learn.
I'm Sam Rossi, writer and co-host of Randomly 15 Minutes, where the Wheel of Randomness gives me the topic and I write about it.
I'm Megan Klodnicki, and I'm the host of Randomly 15 Minutes. I cold read what Sam writes and learn in real time about a random topic.
You can find us on all major podcast platforms and YouTube.
Follow us on Facebook at Randomly 15 Minutes to get more random facts.